What's up, YouTube? ProTech here, back with another StarCraft 2 video for you today. Today we have a map hacker replay. Name of the player is PracticeX. I am sure many of you are aware of this player. He streams on Twitch. And for many years, I have labeled this player as a cheater. But in recent memory, I really have not had any conclusive evidence that he was cheating up until this game that I played today, February the 2nd of 2022. So, he's a 32-time Grandmaster. He usually sits between, I'd say, top 100 and top 50 Grandmaster in North America. He's got over 160 Master League team game finishes. So he plays a lot of StarCraft. And unfortunately, we've got proof that he's cheating here. So without further ado, let's get into it. So in this game, I have picked random, and my teammate has picked Zerg. I'm sorry, has picked Protoss. So I'm the random player here. My teammate is Protoss. He picked Protoss, so it's PR. Now, just a note, I've already watched this replay. And just to kind of keep things a little short here, I'm going to kind of just fast forward to the parts where he is cheating, because I already know that he's cheating. And we're just going to fast forward here a little bit to save some time. So, one of the first things I would like to note here is that he's gone for double gas. And a lot of times, you can tell when a player is cheating, depending on how they open. Here, in this case, his teammate is opening with a 12 pool, right? And what they're doing is incredibly good against a gate expand. But this is okay, right? Like, this is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with this, because two things. One, they know that they're playing as Protoss, and there's a 66.6% chance that I'm going to get Terran or Protoss, right? There's a 33% chance that I'm going to spawn Zerg. This build that this player right here is doing is terrible against Zerg. It's astronomically terrible, but it's really good against a gate expand. But my point is that a lot of times you can tell when players are cheating based off of the opens. This is not a game where you would be able to tell whether or not the players are cheating based off of the opens. Why? Because this guy picked Protoss. I picked random. There's a high percent chance that opening with an early pool like this is going to deny the low ground expansions if I'm Protoss or I'm Terran, right? And in this case, you could make the argument that PracticeX is just synergizing with this open, right? So this is an incredibly good open based off of how this player is opening, but, you know, figuring out whether or not they're cheating is not something you would really be able to do based off of the opens, even though it's very good against how this game is already unfolding. So a lot of times it's incredibly easy for me to tell whether or not a player is cheating just based off of the opens, but this is not one of them. So anyway, PracticeX pretends to scout. We know he's not scouting. He's actually using that as a bunker. And everything in the early stages of the game unfolds, I would say, as you would expect. There's not really indication of any sort of cheating or anything like that in the early stages of the game. But they successfully deny the expansion, which was the whole point of the build, which basically has allowed Zerg to get ahead, has allowed Protoss, or excuse me, Terran to get ahead. And the way Terran has played here is exactly what you would expect, because, well, if you've denied the expansion, you should expect follow-up of aggression, right? So this is okay. There's nothing wrong with this play, based off of the information that they have and how the opens have transpired. So all of this is fine. Doing a bit more pressure. And this is the part where it starts to get a little wonky. Now, remember, like I had told you before, I already know that this player is cheating because I've watched this replay. So I'm going to cover a lot of these things. From the viewpoint of somebody who would be cheating in StarCraft. Okay, so here we have this situation. The Overlord's getting pushed back. The aggression has stopped, right? So what does PracticeX know? He knows that the Lings, they have not retreated back home. Why? Because there's an Overlord here, right? However, there is a vision gap in this area right here. There's no vision anywhere over here, right? So the only places that the Lings, my Lings on this side of the map could have been spotted is by this OV and this OV. So that means that the Lings could be over here. They could be down here. They could be over here. They could be down here. They could be over here. They could be anywhere on this side of the map, right? And it isn't uncommon for people to hide their Lings in places down here. Why? Because the common spots are over here, here, and here. This is generally and over here in this area. These are the places where generally units are going to be. That's where people hide their shit, right? But the point is that doesn't really matter, because my units at this point could quite literally be anywhere in this area. Okay, so just keep that in mind as we watch what transpires here. So here we've got some movement commands. Using the minimap, he sends his units across the map, right? Now let's take a look at where the indicator pops up. The indicator pops up right here, right? Now if we look, my army is here, and his indicator is showing up right here. So what does that mean? That means that if he were to pursue this location, he would run into my army, right? Cool. He then fixes his command and goes here. Now you see here how he has completely gimped on this area back here. Again, like I mentioned before, this is one of the most common places where a player is going to hide his Lings, right? Well, let's think about why checking over here doesn't really make sense at the current moment in time. Well, the reason for that is because I'm morphing in a bunch of Banes, right? Now we'll see yet another A move. Again, that's the second A move that has been, if you follow the trajectory of where this is placed, he's going to scout the army, right? So that's 2 clicks in the general vicinity of this army, okay? But the kicker here is that he snaps to his army right before his units actually scout my troops. See that? There is no vision. But just like every other map hacker that we've ever caught on this channel, this is the exact thing that we see all the time. Snapping to the units the moment before they come into vision, right? And then, of course, his camera pans right over top of the army or whatever, right? So he's prepared for this. And, you know, when I was originally analyzing this, this segment here is, I would say, is pretty anecdotal. I don't really think that, you know, you could make the argument that he's using map hack or whatever based off of this. But because I've watched this replay, I now understand everything that I described to you here. I understand why he issued the commands where he issued them and why he played the way that he played in this segment. So he clears that up. I run away. And he can see all of this, right? Now he can see all of this. This segment right here is where things is 100% blatant that PracticeX is map hacking, okay? Now, I want you to keep in mind that he was streaming at the time, so my speculation is that he's using an overlaid cheat that's not being injected into OBS. Kind of like what Pure Legacy did and got away with for years, right? So here we go. So he pokes up the ramp, and he sees my army. Okay. Well, I've got too many lings, right? He can't take this. However, if he parks his army in this location, and I say I overextend, or maybe I, you know, think I can take it or whatever, if he stays in this bottleneck right here, he's going to get a favorable trade, right? So I have fanned out my army, and I want you to watch what transpires here. It's incredible. So you see how he snaps back to his army, right? And he doesn't move it. But then he snaps back to it again, and then he runs away. Well, let's take a look at why he does this. If we open up the full view, we can clearly see I've got a group of lings over here. And so what I decide to do is I decide to get cute. And I decide to send this army up here and go around for a flank to clamp this so as to kill it, right? Well, he doesn't actually move his army until this army gets up here where he knows that he's in danger of a flank. See how he snaps back? There's my army. And then he just sort of arbitrarily runs away, right? So, this next segment that happens, now keep in mind, this is all going to be happening within the stretch of like 5 or 6 seconds. Watch what he does next. If you look at the production tab, we can see a dark shrine, right? There's no reason at this point, especially, I mean, you can clearly see he hasn't even gone up the ramp. He doesn't even know if there's an expansion here, for God's sake, right? But watch what he does. He goes back to his base. He queues up an engineering bay. See the Dark Shrine timing? 53 out of 71. But watch this. He literally snaps into the Protoss's base right over top of the Dark Shrine and then scans it. There is absolutely no reason to assume that a Dark Shrine is here. And you know that based on the fact that he built the sea bay and then snapped over the Dark Shrine and scanned it, you know all he's trying to do here is alert his teammate that the opponent is going for Dark Shrine. People often say, well, if he's cheating, well, why would he scan? The reason you do this in 2v2 is so that you alert your teammate what he's going, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, this is 100% proof that PracticeX is using map hack. Again, let's go back over what all transpired in the stretch of like 5 seconds. I mean, look at this insanity. It is so unlikely for any of this to ever happen from a legit player's perspective. So he sends his units across the map, clogs up the hole, spots my army, and then he chills. Snaps back to his army, doesn't move it, because these lings are still chilling here. Macros, snaps back to his army, sees on his map hack that this ling flank is coming around here, and then runs away. And then, so there's map hack number 1. And then in the stretch of half a second, he makes map hacker play number 2. Snaps to his base, queues up an eBay. And again, look at the Dark Shrine timing. Snaps into the Protoss's base right over top of the tech and scans the fucking Dark Shrine. So let me be very clear, viewers. This is not open to discussion. This player is cheating, and he's using an overlaid cheat while he streams. I'm not having a discussion with any of you about whether or not he's cheating. There is no sentence in the English language that you can construct that would convince me otherwise. Okay? So, it's unfortunate, but our buddy PracticeX is map hacking, and this is 100% proof, even while he's streaming. Feels bad, man. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning into the video, and I will see you with the next one. Have a nice day.